China, a rising superpower with an unyielding vision of reunification. Today, it boasts over 350 warships, surpassing even the US Navy in sheer size. Legislation like the Taiwan Policy Act signal Washington's commitment to Taiwan as a critical ally, producing 60% of the world's chips and 90% of its most advanced ones. Taiwan, for its part, isn't sitting idle. Imagine the Taiwan Strait, a 180 kilometers of water separating two worlds, two futures, and possibly the spark for the next great geopolitical upheaval. On one side, Taiwan, a small island with enormous global significance, a symbol of democracy in a tumultuous region.
What would happen if China invaded Taiwan?
On the other side, China, a rising superpower with an unyielding vision of reunification, eager to rewrite the history of its region. Tonight, we unravel why many experts believe China is edging closer to invading Taiwan and why this may no longer be a question of if, but rather when.
What you're seeing are training drills performed by the Chinese and Taiwanese militaries. Both sides are preparing for a conflict, which, if it took place, would likely include the US in some capacity.
To understand the stakes, we first need to grasp China's obsession with Taiwan. For Beijing, Taiwan represents more than just territory. It's a symbol of sovereignty, a cornerstone of its national identity, and a chapter of history Beijing is determined to close. President Xi Jinping has enshrined reunification with Taiwan as central to his vision of the Chinese dream, a future where China reclaims its place as a global superpower.
Analysts say there are two causes for concern. One is China's long-standing position that Taiwan is a part of China and that it would seek reunification by force if necessary.
实现祖国完全统一是任何势力都阻挡不了的。
The other is its military buildup. The gravity of a potential war has now become a commonplace discussion in the US national security community.
In his speeches, Xi has shifted from calls for peaceful integration to explicit warnings against external interference. In October 2022, at the 20th Party Congress, he declared that complete reunification of the motherland must and will be realized. These aren't just words, they are declarations of intent. And China isn't just talking. Its military has transformed into a modern, formidable force. Over the past 2 decades, the People's Liberation Army has undergone one of the fastest military buildups in history. Today, it boasts over 350 warships, surpassing even the US Navy in sheer size. Imagine that. Its arsenal includes state-of-the-art hypersonic missiles capable of evading current defense systems, as well as amphibious assault ships designed for rapid island seizures. Beijing's military exercises near Taiwan aren't just muscle flexing, they are rehearsals. In 2023 alone, Chinese forces simulated full-scale blockades and amphibious assaults, testing their ability to isolate Taiwan and repel any US intervention. These drills align with China's anti-access area denial doctrine.
Separated from China's southeastern coast by 100 miles of sea, Taiwan is a self-ruled island that China claims as its own. The Central Intelligence Agency estimates that Chinese leader Xi Jinping has set 2027 as the deadline for his military to be ready to take the island. CSIS based its war games on a hypothetical Chinese invasion of Taiwan taking place in 2026.
A strategy designed to keep adversaries like the US at bay during a rapid and decisive Taiwan operation. So the question is, why now? Why does China see this moment as pivotal? Several factors are converging to create what Beijing views as a closing window of opportunity. On the international stage, the US is doubling down on its support for Taiwan. In recent years, US arms sales to Taipei have surged, and high profile visits like that of then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi in 2022 have drawn Beijing's ire.
Once again, tension is high in the Taiwan Strait. China launching massive military exercises, its army, navy, and rocket forces encircling the self-governed island, simulating a blockade and drilling down on Taiwan's ports.
Legislations like the Taiwan Policy Act signal Washington's commitment to Taiwan as a critical ally. Each of these moves accelerates Beijing's timeline as it seeks to act before Taiwan's differences and its alliances become insurmountable. Domestically, time is also pressing. China's population is aging at an unprecedented rate, and its economy, long a powerhouse, is showing signs of strain. An aging workforce, a real estate crisis, and a slowing GDP growth create long-term vulnerabilities for China. For Xi, the clock isn't just ticking militarily, it's ticking economically and demographically as well. By 2049, the centennial, Xi's government aims to achieve a modern socialist country. Reclaiming Taiwan is a cornerstone of this vision. Then, there's Taiwan's immense strategic value. Known as the Silicon Shield, Taiwan dominates the global semiconductor industry, producing 60% of the world's chips and 90% of its most advanced ones. These tiny components are the backbone of modern life. From smartphones to advanced weaponry, control over Taiwan's chip production wouldn't just bolster China's economy, it would give Beijing a stranglehold on the global technology supply chain. In a world increasingly defined by digital innovation and AI, semiconductors are as essential as oil once was. And China isn't acting in a vacuum. It is closely studying the world's response to other conflicts, especially Russia's invasion of Ukraine. While Western sanctions have hurt Russia, they've fallen short of crippling it. Beijing may interpret this as evidence of the global response to aggression. If sanctions and condemnation are the primary tools of deterrence, China might calculate that the economic and diplomatic costs of Taiwan could be managed, especially if the prizes technological dominance and a geopolitical reshuffle. Meanwhile, the US appears stretched thin. With significant commitments in Ukraine and rising tensions in the Middle East, can Washington really afford to fully back Taiwan in a direct conflict right now?
China calls it a stern warning, and its Ministry of Foreign Affairs insisted it's a domestic issue.
I can tell you that Taiwan independence is incompatible with peace in the Taiwan Straits, and provocations by the forces of Taiwan independence will be rejected.
This uncertainty weighs heavily in Beijing's calculations. Furthermore, the US faces its own domestic challenges, including political polarization and economic uncertainty, which may hinder its ability to respond decisively.
One of the most pressing foreign policy questions is whether he can effectively protect Taiwan from the growing ambitions of China.
Taiwan, for its part, isn't sitting idle. Its military spending has surged and leadership has grown bolder in its defiance of Beijing. President Tsai Ing-wen openly quotes international allies, strengthening Taiwan's global profile. The island has also embraced an all-out strategy, actively exposing Beijing's coercive tactics and leveraging global sympathy for its democratic ideals.
China has built up military air bases all along its southeastern coast at Longtian, Hui'an, and Zhangzhou. Longtian Air Base in Fujian is less than 160 kilometers from Taiwan. It would take only 7 minutes for a fighter jet to reach us from there.
But these actions, while boosting Taiwan's defenses, also make it an even larger target in Beijing's eyes. Beijing's past actions offer a chilling preview of what could come. The rapid crackdown on Hong Kong's freedom and aggressive militarization of the South China Sea demonstrate China's willingness to defy international norms.
China's drills come only a few days after this, Taiwan's National Day celebrations. During a speech, the island's president, Lai Ching-te, said China has no right to represent Taiwan.
In both cases, global condemnation was loud but short-lived. Taiwan could be the next in this pattern of calculated escalation. Unlike Hong Kong, however, Taiwan's fate has far-reaching implications for global security, economic stability, and the balance of power. For China, the stakes are territorial reunification, technological dominance, and national pride.
Focusing on Xi Jinping having being a very different leader from his predecessors, much more Marxist-Leninist, more Maoist, if you like, than his immediate predecessors, having swung the country hard to the left economically and becoming a very aggressive nationalist. I mean, I think all of that analysis is completely right.
But the risks are staggering. A prolonged conflict could devastate Taiwan, cripple global trade, and draw in major powers, leading to a catastrophic escalation. For the world, the stakes are nothing less than the balance of power and the future of democracy in Asia. Taiwan is more than just a global geopolitical hotspot. It's a litmus test for the international community's resolve to uphold the principles of sovereignty and self-determination. The question isn't whether China can invade Taiwan. It's whether the world is ready for what follows if they do.